This is going to be really, really interesting because what I did should have been done by the police. They should have already completed this task in the initial day. Not like, 2.5 months later, here's some YouTuber is looking at the track going, wait a minute, this is weird how it connects to this at the house. What am I talking about, you guys? I'm talking about Tucson, Arizona, Nancy Guthrie case. We're back at it today. I had to take a few days to do some research. Also, I cover other cases as well. I needed to spread awareness about Lynette Hooker. Her husband and her were on a 3-year journey documenting everything on their channel. She's now missing. He's been arrested, detained, kind of one of them things, no charges. He might be let go today. We're trying to find out where is Lynette. So that's been going on. But in the meantime, I haven't left the Nancy Guthrie case. In fact, I've deep dived even further. And in that, I like to break down everything that I have as a theory to see if the evidence backs the theory. If you listen to the ex-law enforcement and the ex-FBI, that's how they do it too. So when you have a bunch of rookies like in the Nancy Guthrie case that have never done true crime, never done a homicide case in their life, and they're running the show, it leaves a lot of concern for why was the doormat not taken immediately? Why wasn't the nest for the Nest camera that wasn't there? Why wasn't that taken immediately? And we know those things weren't taken for days because they were still there. It took the FBI collecting some of the stuff. In that, I have to look at this and go, okay, I actually have some training. Though it's amateur, I have enough training to look at tracks to see if it's the same block print as something else. And when I did, I was like, oh, for the love of God. Which led me to the back of Nancy's yard where the piece of equipment is sitting. I can't wait to show you. And it brought in that whole Hannibal Lecter comment of, Savannah telling the ransom people on her video something about their mother being, kind and generous. Just ask her, right? Well, that's all comes into play. All of this comes into play. But I want to break it down for you. You may completely feel that I am wrong. You might be like, OMG, you're right. I tend to believe what I'm showing you is exactly what happened to Nancy. Also, the lay of the blood, the satellite dripping. And so there's a lot to go over in a short amount of time. So welcome into 1111 True Crime. Mama D coming at you in the house. We have a live audience, which is with me now. Welcome in, my lovelies. And welcome back if you're returning. As well as we have a live chat. So hello to a few of you. Hi, Joyful. Hi, Joyful Dolphin. Rhonda, Barbara Bonnet's here. Jennifer Swain, Jenny Bill, Zoe, Smudger, Linda Beatty, all of you, I welcome you. And if you are on replay at home, thank you so much to all of you. Because with the hypes, the likes, the subscriptions, you guys are growing this channel all the time. Like, it's growing amazingly well. It's because of you, and I appreciate you. My goal is to always be able to be the voice for the voiceless and give you a platform as well. I'm going to cough. Let me grab a drink. I guess there's your proof I'm not AI. I've had a heck of a week. I'm just going to say that. In real life, I have flash flooding happening. And we are still standing in water, and we have another flash flood starting tonight. I just simply ask you, with the tornado warnings that are supposed to come my way and the ill weather, if you could please say a prayer for me and mine to be safe through the storm. I would greatly appreciate that. God is powerful. That being said, let's jump over, you guys. Matched the track. Now, I'm not 1,000% able to match the exact thing, but I am very sure that we're on the right track. You'll see why. Hi, Shay. She says, hello, beautiful people. Well, hello, lovely. Iselin, hello. Hello, good to see you. Hey, Wendy. All right, you guys, let's look at something. So we've all looked at the tracks, right? This was captured. The first that I knew of it was here on February 2nd. Remember that Nancy Guthrie was reported missing on the 1st of February. So we're on the 2nd of February. And the New York Post documented it. It says Rebecca Noble. That could be off Twitter. I don't know. Maybe that's somebody at the New York Post. But there's the name. And you can see they're showing these tracks and also down here. But there were others that got the same tracks, right? Much clearer pictures. And so I wanted you to look at the tires of whatever this track is. It's a little wider, right? It actually is showing wide tracks, not like a single track. Well, let me come over to the top side a little bit here. So we're not getting two sets of double tracks on the sides. When you look at it, it literally appears to be a dugout. So the tires would need to be kind of air-filled or ballooned in some way. And so it doesn't make me think of a wheelchair. It made me think of a dolly. The kind that is handheld and that, you load things up and move them out. So if this is planned, which we know that there is a porch screenshot of previous video where this guy, I forgot to put my lipstick on, where this guy doesn't have no pew-pew. He doesn't have a backpack 2 separate times. This is because it's planned. So if you're going to break in, you probably, if it's planned, are going to know the inhabitant. You're going to know a lot about them. In this case, this person knew exactly which room was her bedroom. They went and got her out of her bed. So for everybody that's got this theory that Nancy Guthrie stumbled upon them while she was getting up to go pee, or they showed flowers at the door and she came to the door and that's why there's blood. I'm sorry, I can't go that route, because we've heard the sheriff say it and we've had Savannah say she was pulled from her bed. Literally, the man was standing over Savannah's mother. I take that very serious because Savannah's a lawyer. And because Savannah knows more than we're telling, than she's able to share. So the thought would be there's no struggle. That's what they're telling us. There's no sign of struggle. In that, I'm looking at these tracks, you guys. They're like balloon tires. They're like blown up. And I'm like, I've done a lot of inventory for the business I worked for. And to me, that could easily be a dolly. So then I thought about the blood. And here's one picture that I grabbed off of somebody that actually, Brian Itton's first shot. And I'm like, hold the phone. This little deal right here, this is a big deal. This is a big deal right here. This isn't just like the satellite drops, which you can see are dropping down. This actually looks like a tire. Now the rest of these droplets of blood that are satellite drops, meaning they go straight down and of blood, are not only on the outside porch, but on the inside of the door on the floor there at the entryway, according to Ashley Banfield sources. But nowhere else in the house. And I got to thinking about this. If the patient is on a dolly laid back, where's the blood going to go? On them. It's going to go on them. But if you get to a doorway, I'm sitting back for a reason. I get to a doorway, I now have a pinch point. I have a door that's going to open out and I have a door that's going to open in, and I've got to traverse this because I believe she went out the front door, hence the blood. However, what may have occurred is they had to set the dolly upright, and the head is now dripping down, and there's nothing to catch the blood, so you get satellite drips. They traverse the door, they get the dolly turned around, they come out, boom, over the threshold, they're now outside. And now they're going to have to take a minute to get the dolly out of the way to shut the other door. And I think there was that moment where, again, they had to set that dolly upright, and we've got the satellite drops. She may have even coughed or sneezed, and there's mucus and blood, and it's dripping from her face. Okay? And then the reason there'd be no footprints in it is because you're going to walk this way, right? So if I'm coming towards you with a dolly and it's a person on it, I doubt I'm going to be pushing them ahead of me. It's going to be much easier for me, personally, this is how I would do it, to pull the dolly along as I walk forward. I've had to haul a lot of heavy stuff, and especially if you've strapped somebody down to a dolly, it's going to feel tippy a little bit, especially if they do anything. Okay, so you're going to want control of it, and pushing it isn't as easy. So you're going to pull it. So if you're pulling it, your feet are ahead of the game. There's no disturbance. However, I believe this is a dolly print. I really do. So what I did is I brightened the picture up and I enhanced so that we could see real time what we're looking at. And in that, I was like, well, is this a shoe print? Okay. So I went in and got all kinds of shoes, and I tried my best to lay the sneaker over it. But the problem was, let me undo that. The problem was that it didn't look like a shoe print to me. It really didn't. All the shoes I looked at, I couldn't quite, not that it's not a shoe print, it could be, but let me go over here. What got me, let me grab my drawing stick, got me thinking about the dolly tires. I'm going to have to use white, or we'll use green because the blood's already red. Is that you have a duplicate positioning. You have duplicate here, and you have duplicate here, and then you have the start of the same duplication, but it doesn't track any further. So because it's the duplicate here and then here, I thought it's tread, because tread is a pattern. So let's go over and look at this. So when you look at this dolly, you can see that this is a completely different dolly than she has, but I wanted to show you how wide the tires are compared. And I've checked her dolly, which is there with the balloon tires, all right? Well, I say balloon, they're not, they're solid. You can't get a flat with them. But see, they're the perfect width of tire. The tires are perfectly the width apart to then get this kind of tracking. And it's coming from her front door. So I was really digging into Nancy Guthrie's idea that she could have been removed with a dolly and strapped on it. There would have been no struggle, no knocking over anything. I said, is it possible Nancy was clinging to the doorway and they were fighting to get her off the doorway? None of that would have happened, because she would not have had any room on for wiggle. She'd have been strapped to that dolly. So you think it's a partial footprint. All right, well, we'll see. It could be, we'll keep going. I do think it's a partial print indeed. So I grabbed this tire right here, Mainly because, let me get that green marker. You can see this zigzag right here. See that? I was like, huh. Let me undo that and move that tire out of the way. Huh. That's interesting to me because, like I said before, I've got this zigzag here. And then I've got this zigzag here. Truth train coming through for a reason. Because it's the season for truth. Alright? And so that caught my eye. And then I was looking, and even though the blood would have gotten blotchy and it wouldn't have retained a hardcore, edge, I was like, okay, so there's a gap here. Then there's a space where the tire touches, and then a gap here. And I'm like, oh, look here. Here's this. And then there's that spacer, and there's this. So it really looks like a lot of these. And this isn't just one tire. This is hundreds of thousands of dolly tires are shaped like this. They all, not all, a lot of the balloon tires have this type of tread. And I was looking out, this side does duplicate over here. And there are dolly tires that have that same duplicate right through here as well. There are, but I couldn't get the tread to where I could see both sides at the same time. So I thought, well, this is the best I can do. At least you can see this. So I want to talk about the tires. These are pneumatic air-filled 10-inch, I guess these are air-filled, hand truck wheels. They're made for a heavy-duty replacement for garden carts and utility carts, as well as dollies. All right? About $40 for a pair. So what I did, and keep in mind, I am an amateur, I've been doing true crime since 2016, so I do have experience, but I have no professional training. But I've also helped work on so many cases, well over 150 cases. In that, one of them, in that case, I'm not going to go into great detail, but there was bruising on the suspect who was claiming to be a victim. Serious bruising. And they did evidentiary photos of the bruising on the woman. She did not accuse her husband, but I suspected it was him. Lo and behold, one of the evidentiary photos had his shoes, which happened to be very specific tennis shoes, not the kind you get at Walmart, the kind where if you're a collector, you might go back and buy a vintage pair of very expensive tennis shoes. I found them on eBay. I got the sole. I was able to overlay it onto her and prove without a shadow of a doubt that he had been the attacker through what I'm about to use with you. Now, the difference here is what we have is we have the floor. We have the ground, the porch where the blood is. And what we have is an angle photograph. We do not have a top-loaded photograph. So it's not a straight-down satellite view. So it's askew. The actual photograph of the print is legitimately askew visually. So it's not going to match even if we have the right tire. Because I'm looking at the tire straight on down. All right? But we can get close. We can get very close. And as you can see, I've taken the tire, I've blown it up to approximately the space. Keep in mind, this is not the exact tire, but this is what I do believe is I believe it was a dolly tire. And you're going to see why I specifically believe a dolly tire. And there's something different about Nancy's dolly that shouldn't be. And why it's not in evidence, I'm beyond blown away. But let's go ahead and get into this. So right here, you can see I've got that same tire. And yes, we're going to overlay and work it back and forth so you can see the comparison. So we have the tire. We're going to break it down to nothing but the blood print. And I'll do this a number of times. So as I go up, we'll leave it right there. I'm going to grab my little drawing, and you can see that this is the exact tire mark, the tread. And the picture of the blood is askew, okay? You can also see where this tread would also have been right here. And this even more so backs up the theory that this is not necessarily a shoe, but that the same pattern is repeated exactly twice. And it matches the tread of a tire to me. Now, I will take off the drawing part, but first let's transition with it on there. So you can see I basically outlined the tires, and then we'll take it back off the tire, and the tire is gone. And now you can see what the tire would look like if it was laying on top. Not only that, but let's go back to getting that tire and make that slit down the middle. Oh, the program froze. That program is getting so overloaded with Nancy Guthrie file that I'm going to have to split it. And I don't want to, but it's freezing because it's got every video and I've overwhelmed it. Oh no, it's saying, do I want to end process? I'll just say cancel and hope it works. The program I need is frozen. How's everybody doing in chat? Driveway had tread marks too, right, Robin? Oh, it let it go. Okay. All right, let's get back over there before it freezes again, y'all. And then tonight I'll split the program. So right there you can see we're going to take our little draw. Please let me do this. Don't freeze. I think it froze already. Ah, it's killing me. Oh, it didn't. Okay. I want to just draw this part right here where it should be a gap. Let's just see where we end up. Maybe if I go slow, it can handle it. Maybe. I will split the program so it has less in it. All right, let's get on this. And do you see where it kind of shows that gapping if it wasn't askew? Whoops, sorry guys. How many of you feel that the tracks, right? All right, let me get this all off here. And let's go ahead. We'll come back to that probably. So there's all different kind of tires. This is a different set. Again, I'm showing you, they've got that little marking there. They've got that completely different company. These have the whole silver inside. These got the little round. But this is how you would carry someone. This person's posing for Halloween. And the girl that was playing the victim, she's in a straitjacket. Well, that could have been a sheet that they wrapped around the front of Nancy and swirled it around her and then not zip tied, but ratchet strapped her on. She ain't gonna be moving. You feel me? Okay. Let's look, you guys. So right here, this is Nancy's garage, right here. Right here, you can see that this right here, in this area, is a utility area. It's got the air conditioner right here, and it also has a dolly right there. Now, I got it up close too, but what's even more interesting is this little back gate is open. Now, the dolly, the door is over here. You're not going to go past the air conditioner, right? You're not going to have a door behind the air conditioner because the door is over here. So that's why this little star gate right here was propped open with a flower pot. Because what they had to do, let's get red, they had to grab this dolly and come out this way. And they didn't want to have to monkey with this gate when they went in this way. And they propped open them back doors to get that dolly through. Now, let me get up here. You got your lotion and cards today, Wendy? And June got her lotion? Do you see the dolly? Now, I had to grab drone footage that was up quite a ways to capture this. And so it's harder to tell. Let me see if I can clean this up at all to where you could possibly see it better. Maybe if I lighten it, we'll see. All right, let's go contrast a little heavier. Now you can see it. All right, let me draw it for you. You have the handles right here and right here. And then it's got the bar here, and then the foot thing right here. And if you look, it's got the big bubble air tire. You feel me? And I'm not trying to be weird. It could be a shadow. It doesn't look like a new dolly. But let me just ask you a question. Did anybody check this dolly? Let me scroll down. Oh, Lord have mercy. Hold on, y'all. I jumped off screen by a lot. Okay, let me just get it back down there. Is that the one? No. All right, right here. What is this? Let's take that green. Could this be blood? Have they even looked at this area to see if that's blood? If there's any blood on this? Have they, took DNA from the tires if there was anything? Let me shrink it down so you can see the full dolly. All right, let me get all my crap off the board. All my fancy drawings. Now here's the other problem why I think they use the dolly. The handle has been done wrong. The handle right here and right here should not be in that position. The only time you would do that is if you were laying the dolly flat on the ground, and so you'd want your handles tipped up like this, and you got that little, bar with the things, so that you could put somebody here and the handles would keep their head from going side to side. The handles are wrong on this dolly, and I didn't get that myself. I was told that. I was told that by a handyman when I said, could this dolly have been used to transport someone? He said, sure shit, because the handles are wrong. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, unless this thing was laid down and they more or less were keeping the person's head in here, they wouldn't have the handles that way. And I don't know nothing about dollies, but he said that, I know enough of the ones I've used, all of them, the handles have went this away, not this away. And then he's got this extra thing that's still out. That should not, okay. Y'all get me. The dolly's here. And the tires, let me push that back to get it nice. The tires are not tiny little tires. They are the big honkin' mama jamas. So I was all like, oh shoot, that's right. Savannah made that whole Silence of the Lamb comment during the ransom note. And we were all like, what's that about? What do you mean, ask her? And this person that's random on the internet made a little synopsis about what they feel about Hannibal Lecter. And I thought it was interesting. They said, makes subtle bargains, delights in clever wordplay, loves music, art, and literature, eats people who are rude or break custom, offers food and fantastic dinner parties. You should definitely not eat said food. Y'all, if I was to describe Annie Guthrie, and I'm not saying she's Hannibal Lecter, I'm saying it just is edgy for me. The fact that Savannah, she was like my mom, has a mischievous sense of humor. Kind of made me think that's a sharp-tongued woman. I love you, Nancy, but that's what it made me think of as a sharp-tongued person. When you have a mischievous sense of humor, it's being cocky. I have a mischievous sense of humor. And I'm telling you, you're being cocky. You're sharp-tongued. You say what you mean, and you mean what you say. And when you do that, is it possible that shy little Annie... Okay? So what's the Hannibal Lecter thing about? Well, what's he on? He's on this. A dolly, right? It just gets to me. Totally. So when I'm looking at all this, I'm going, is this the simple solution? Is it that we've got Barney Fife and Gilligan over there running this detective show? Nobody has thought about, oh my gosh, is there anything they could have... They planned this. We know they planned this because we've got extra days of footage of these perps. If they planned it, they had to have known that Nancy can't walk to the post office, the post box, most days. So what are you going to use, Batman? Come on. Savannah herself said the doors were propped open. We thought maybe 911 had been called and they had come in with a gurney. So it does make you think that the back doors were propped open. Why? Well, if you go back and look, especially the gate. Why prop that gate open? Well, you got to get the dolly from right here, and you're going to march it right through that gate towards them back doors that are open. And then when we go back a little bit up to here, let me get a good picture. There you go. Right there. And inside the home, that makes sense. The dolly was stood flat. Her head would have propped forward, and you would indeed get satellite blood drops from her head straight down. You would get it on the inside because they're traversing a pinch point. So they better go get that dolly before Annie and Tommaso are like, we don't know what happened to that dolly. I'm just saying theoretically, in my opinion. Because I believe this is an inside job even more because this person knew where the dolly was. They blocked the back open gate with flower pots. They knew the workings of this home, in my opinion. Everything here I'm sharing with you. And the bracelet. I'm funny. I don't mean to be funny. I'm just saying. These Barney Fife and Gilligans and these no new news, nanos bananos, are not able to solve the case because they're not working it properly. They need to go get that dolly right now and find out if it's got Nancy's blood on it. Like right now. It would make so much sense. Why would you carry a woman that even though she's frail on her feet, her hands work just great. She could claw you. She could rip your mask off. She could beat you in the back. She could kick you in the gonads. She could be fighting like a cat. And you got to go through the whole damn house and... Hold on, little missy, we're gotta get this one door open to get through the next door. Quit being this way. No. You're going to go in there. She's hard of hearing. She ain't gonna hear a damn thing. They went in there. She probably, if this was an inside job, somebody was like, hey, Mom, want an extra piece of chicken with a sedative in it? She's like, what? And they're like, you want more chicken? She's like, yes, please. So she was sleeping like a baby. And just like Savannah and Nana Banana says, she was taken out of her bed. Not somewhere in the house. Nothing was disturbed. There's no blood anywhere because they did not pick her up and carry her and all that crap. They took her sheet and her bedding and they went, boom, and they pillowcased her with her bedding and they slapped her on there like a mummy and they strapped her down. They picked that up. She's now laying in this position, right, way back here, being wheeled to the front door. Blood is dropping on Nancy at this point. As they get to the front door, they have to set her upright to maneuver this, to do that, because they're at that pinch point. What's Nancy doing? She's unconscious because I'm sorry. And she's like, got that head straight down. Now, they turn that around so the blood's not going to be there, and they move it out. They go over the threshold. Now they've got some inner workings to do. They've got to get that dolly going the opposite way. And that's where they left their track, in the turnaround, because you're going to pull her off that, and then you're going to have to get turned around so that you have hands to work doors. Even if they shut on their own, you got to get out from under the door. In that, I think for a minute, he set her upright. And again, her face went down and satellite bleeding. Satellite blood drops. That's my theory. And I think when you look at this, sure, maybe it's a shoe print. Let me get back over. But this is why I believe it's not. Because of the tracks. The tracks are there. They're wide enough. They're the perfect width for a dolly. That's just so, to me, that is right there. No problem. You only have 2 sets of prints coming down that track. They are parallel to each other. That is exactly what you would have with the dolly. You've got the satellite blood dropping with this track. And that track looks so close to me to this. And remember, this is askew. I'm not able to, turn that blood picture a different way. And I can only maneuver so much. But when you walk this from the tire, just watch this edge right here for now. And like I said, there's different tread, but they all have that bite mark. Some of them have it on double sides. And that would be an H with zigzag edges. And that's exactly what we have on that property there. And then when I'm thinking about it and I'm like, look at Nancy's dolly. And then I zoomed in, I'm like, what is with the handles? The guy is telling me they look like they've been turned forward, which would be to stabilize the load. And if it's Nancy that is the load, and face it, if you're going to someone's home and you're a bad guy, and your only goal is to kidnap them, to abduct them, that's all you're taking. You're not taking her purse, you're not taking her watch, you're not taking medicine, you're not taking money, nothing. You don't even look at her billfold. You're just taking the person. Why on earth would you be like, well, when I get there, I hope I can lift her? No, you know that there's a dolly here somehow. The only way you're going to know there's a dolly waiting for you is if this is an inside job. That's my theory. Mama D, you were blowing my mind. You were amazing. Well, thank you, lovely. Dr. Teacher Tommaso, CSI DNA, you messed up, buddy, according to Rhonda. Oh, I will. All right, so my bird Sunny says I need to tune in to Sleuth Intuition that a caller claimed that they were the brother to Porch Guy. I will definitely tune in. Try to watch anything and everything I can. Y'all, I think that's the kindest compliment, and I'm so honored to hear it so often. You guys say you should have been an investigator or works with the police. Get that $1.2 million. Y'all, if I got $1.2 million, I would love to start a missing foundation, right? To be able to be boots on the ground and actually help the police. That would be incredible. As far as being an investigator, I feel like I do quite a lot on these cases. Like I said, in that other old case from 25 years ago, I was able to prove that it was the husband's shoe print on the woman's body by using eBay to track his vintage shoe and get a copy of the sole and transcend between the two. And there was no denying it because he had stomped the living crap out of her. And that shoe print, you got to remember, on skin flattens and it rolls too. And so it took quite a bit, but we were able to do, well, I was able to do it. Did it get her not to be accused of the crime? No. Truthfully, it broke my heart because I knew the truth. Everybody could see it. They're like, yeah, but she still did the crime even though he did it. Anyway, so with this, when we're looking at Nancy Guthrie having her own dolly right there with the gate wide open, why? You tell me, Mickey Mouse. Why would the gate be open? Because that's where they're coming through with the dolly. Everybody knows you prop the door open automatically when you're going to be using a dolly. And the person that's a handyman is saying that the handles are purposely turned forward on this dolly, which I don't understand all that, but he's telling me they are, because that's to keep somebody's head from moving. You know, from tipping over and getting blood everywhere else. I don't know. Linda said, accidentally kicked yourself out. Mama D like a dog with a bone. Maybe they should start checking deep freezes. Wouldn't that be something if she's in a deep freezer? Lottie says, Mama D, contact Ray at Fugitive TV. He's looking for missing person too. And you're at opposite ends of the U.S., so would complement each other. Honey, I just work for God, okay? I'm not going to contact other YouTubers. I do my own thing. They do their own thing, but we're supportive of each other. I think that's why he was in there, was to get that changed and to take her out for money and to get to hurt Savannah greed and jealousy evil. It's definitely more than just... Okay, so if it was just about money, y'all can say, follow the money, it's inside deal, it's Annie and Tommaso, all they want is money. Listen, y'all, that is not all that is at stake. Because if they wanted money, they could have given her something at supper that made her pass away in her sleep. Nobody would have done no autopsy. They would have been like, oh, 84-year-old woman passed away peacefully in her sleep. Let's have a funeral. And they would have had the will. They would have had the house. They would have had money. There's more to this than that. This almost feels like revenge. Really. Really to me. Thank you, Bev. I do. I have some atrocious weather coming my way. I'm already flooded. We had a very bad storm 2 days ago and it flooded. We got flash flooded. And it's seeping into my basement as I speak. We've got everybody's alert on it. I've got the sump pump working. We're having to watch every minute. That's why I keep looking out my window, because we want to be okay. And now we're getting another flash flood warning for tonight, with tornado activity possible. So say a prayer for me. I appreciate it. Interesting enough, today's show and Savannah are mentioned in the prophecy. Julie Green said Savannah would be in the news for a shocking reason. Well, that's interesting. Maybe they weren't happy with the will. Who knows? Eliza says that dolly can be used via 2 wheels or laid down like a 4-wheel cart. Yep, you can lay it down. You wrap someone in their bedding, lay them on it, strap them down. They ain't getting out. You know, I mean, look, this person, they're not getting out. She's stuck until he lets her go. And you can't be like, well, there is no dolly. Look at that dolly right there. And that's the door right there. Let's get all this off the screen for a minute so you can see it all. So So let me go back over. I'm going to leave that star. That's where the gate is. And I don't even know why it made a star, but that's awesome. Here's the door right here. Here's the dolly. They're going to bring that dolly out. Right? I mean, right? Yes, I sure will, Nikki. I sure will, Eliza. I'm going to do my best. Read Psalms 91 before the storm. Will do. Thank you. Great theory, Mama D. NET haven't paid their property taxes allegedly. Alexander says somebody would have to bring the dolly back after moving dolly. They would go through that trouble. I think they went through more than that. I think they went in there and made that bed look like she just simply turned the cover back. I think this was an inside job. Yep. Face it, we have no timeline. We have no timeline. We have perps that triggered a camera at 147 or 148. 212, we have a disconnect or something like that. We don't know when, because we have power outages, we have internet outages, which means the Wi-Fi dropped. So there would be no signal from the pacemaker to say when Nancy left. You have to have Wi-Fi. If you don't have it, you're not going to know. So they could have been there for hours. Eliza worked it over. Catch up on the replay. Great. Thank you, lovely. Daddy Guthrie passed away in Mexico in the mines. Wish that anyone would appreciate what I share here, like Doug Live Northport, breaking news, new evidence podcast to see how Nancy could have been transported. Wish that anyone would appreciate what I share here, like Doug Live Northport, breaking news, new evidence podcast to see. So you're coming on here to advertise? Okay, I don't get it. Yeah, inside job, absolutely. And T, it's so obvious in your opinion. Thank you, lovely. All right, so I told you I didn't go anywhere, that I was still working on the Nancy Guthrie case. You guys, let's look at this real quick. We're going to get off here. Now, if you want to know, if you want to know with Savannah, what else does she know that she's not sharing with us? That's what I'm pulling cards on. If that's not your thing, then skip the next step. That's where we're headed. Let's get over here and transition this. Like I said, this isn't the best because it is, not going to match exactly anyway. But that one edge has that 3-prong right there. And then it duplicates. And then you got the tracks in the driveway, which to me, that looks like dolly tracks. This looks like dolly tracks to me. And she's definitely got the big tires on her dolly. All right, my lovelies, that is what I have for you today. I thank you so much for tuning in and being patient with me. I'm not going to come out here and just talk to be talking. I'm out here when I have something to share. So sometimes you have to be patient. Could be a day or two. Might cover another case in between. Doesn't mean I've given up on the current case, which is Nancy Guthrie. I love you. Who's up here? Look at Jackson. Get up here. Come on, Jack. Oh, my gracious. Y'all, he weighs so much. Oh, my golly. He's a solid boy. He's a hot dog. Be nice. Be nice. No lick. Oh, I shush you, baby. Hurt your feelings. All right, you guys. Thank you for the hypes. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate you with all my heart. Can you say thank you, Jackson? Okay, he said thank you. And I will see you again very soon. If you're pulling cards, we're jumping over. We're going to see what Savannah actually knows. I love you. And then I'm going to hand it over and let you guys ask the questions. Are you a chunky monkey? Are you a chunky monkey? Can you say bye? Can you say love you to the moon and back?
I was born to the dirt, I shall return when my eyes are closed. In the shadows, my enemies will think they won, but I am here to stay. Destiny will overcome, no, I am not afraid. Like a phoenix in the night, my soul will rise from the dark.